Welcome to the August installment of our virtual C-Dub Classics, presented by Kaiser Permanente. C-Dub Classics provides monthly health and wellness activities to Santa Cruz County residents. My name is Dallin and I enjoy birdwatching, and today I'm going to show you a little bit about it. I've been birdwatching ever since I was a little kid. I would go with my dad and our friends, and we would get our field guides and our junior binoculars, and we would go out into nature. We'd get up early, we'd drive to different places around the state. I grew up doing that with them, and it was a fun time to spend in nature, a fun way to spend time with my dad. He would point the birds out to me, he would tell me what the names were, and what the identifying marks on the birds were, where you can find them, what season it is. And it's something that I've enjoyed all throughout the years, and so I'm hoping I get to share some of that with you all today. So what is bird watching? People ask, what's the difference between birding and bird watching? And well, the answer is, there is no difference. It's exactly the same. Bird watching is just what it sounds like. You watch birds. Birds are watching us all the time. They're the only animal, or one of the few animals, that inhabit all 7 continents, which means wherever you are, there's always birds. It doesn't matter. You can always bird or bird watch. California's state bird is the California quail. You can find this bird pretty much anywhere, and you can identify it by the curly black feather that comes out in the front of its head. This bird likes to hang out in neighborhoods, in suburban areas. It likes to hang out in scrub oak, woodlands, open fields, near streams, near rivers. Anywhere you can go, the California quail can go. Be on the lookout for that one when you're out and about. To help you guys get started on your birding journey, I'm going to talk about some common birds that can be found in the state of California. The first one is the house finch. You can identify this bird by its red crown and chest. The male birds are usually the ones with the color. The females are a little more drab in nature. This is a common feature across most birds. The female house finch is predominantly brown. True to their name, house finches like to hang out around houses. You can find them in the cities and the suburbs, as well as in most forests or groves of trees. An interesting fact about the house finch is that they were sold illegally by New York pet shop owners who released them in the 1940s to escape prosecution. The bird was originally from the Southwest. However, once the birds were released, they began to populate the East Coast and are now a very popular and common bird across all 50 states. The male Anna's hummingbird has a reddish throat that can sometimes appear even orange or even copper colored when looked at in the sun. The females are a little more drab. They have a simple green back with a gray underbelly. Now, the Anna's hummingbird is a hummingbird that you might notice during its courtship dance. This bird, the male, will fly up about 50 to 60 feet in the air, hover for a second, dive bomb straight at the female, swoop around, make a loud popping noise at the bottom of the flight, and then zoom back up again. The male will repeat this dance over and over again, hoping to impress a potential mate. Another common bird in California is the red-tailed hawk. Now, this is a common bird not just in California, but in the entire country. It is the most common species of hawk found in North America. Now, these hawks are one of my favorites. They're very special. You will see them soaring high in the sky on sunny days. You can see the red. It's sort of a ruddyish red-brown color in their tail feathers, and you can see how their wings end in points, a bit like this if you were holding your hand with your fingers just slightly spread. When you look up, you can see that in the silhouette. You can also listen for its distinctive cry, which sounds like a shrill squeal or a scream. Now, the males most often make that noise when they are mating. However, you can hear it really at any time in the year. They are carnivorous. They are birds of prey. They will eat small mammals, insects, snakes, reptiles, really whatever they can catch. And they are so populous in the United States that they've even started inhabiting cities. So as you're driving to work, take a look. Look up on a telephone pole or light pole, and you may even catch one perched, surveying its territory, looking for something to eat. Now you may be thinking, there are so many birds, how will I ever be able to tell what kind they are or identify one when I'm trying to bird watch? The way I think about it is you can break birds down into 4 sort of basic categories. You have your songbirds, your birds of prey, your water birds, which can include waterfowl like ducks and geese, or seabirds like cormorants, seagulls, and pelicans. You also have your game birds. These are the birds you would typically hunt, like turkeys, grouse, pheasants, and other birds that primarily travel by running on the ground. They're not big flyers. They like to hang out on the ground, such as the quail, for instance. Now, this is not an exact science, but as you get more familiar with the kinds of birds, the species, you can sort of break them into those own groups in your head. And you can say, hey, look at that bird. That looks like it's about the size of a songbird. And that will help you start to eliminate and figure out which bird it is. Now, as I've said before, you can birdwatch anywhere because birds are everywhere. However, to take a more proactive approach in birdwatching, you need to know where to birdwatch and when to birdwatch. Now, typically speaking, the best times of day to birdwatch are early in the morning and late at night. Much like fishing, you want to go at dawn and at dusk. This is most often when birds are active, unless you're, of course, talking about the nocturnal birds like owls. However, that brings me to my next point. You need to know what kind of birds you want to look for in order to know when and where to go. An important component of that is getting yourself a good field guide. Now, you can have a physical hard copy field guide that has pages and pictures and written descriptions, or you can have a field guide on your phone. That's what I prefer. I use the Audubon Society's birding app. You also need a good pair of binoculars. I would recommend getting some binoculars that are waterproof. However, there are binoculars for every budget and every need. You don't always need the expensive ones. The expensive ones obviously have some nice features. However, proper binocular care is very important. For example, when you are using them, you should always have the covers off so that you can see. And when you are no longer looking at birds, you should store it in a carrying case and replace the protective covers. Dust and fingerprints on your lenses will make it harder for you to go birding. They can affect the birds that you see and the way that you see them, which would cause you to misidentify, or even worse, not see any birds at all. And you certainly never want to break your binoculars, so you should always keep them safely on a strap around your neck. I think my favorite part about bird watching is twofold. One is the variety of birds. There are so many birds to be able to see, and the reality is you won't see all the birds that exist in your lifetime. You could spend years and years and years and you would never see every single bird. It's very fun to be able to know what birds you've seen, for me, and to be able to identify them more quickly, and even learning to identify birds by their song or by their flight pattern from far away. And getting familiar with nature is a great way that helps me unwind. It helps me quiet my mind, and it helps me feel like I am at peace. So I highly recommend that you folks get into birding. It's something that I've enjoyed, and I hope that you will too. So thank you all, on behalf of the Santa Cruz Warriors and Kaiser Permanente, for joining our C-Dub Classics today. We have new and exciting videos the last Monday of every month. For more information, visit santacruzbasketball.com/classics. And remember, get out there and bird.